Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We are so glad that you can join us today for our very last coffee chat of the season. Today, we are focused on the Salt Center here at the University of Arizona. And after today, we will have completed 13 coffee chats. So I want you to know that we appreciate you. We thank you for your partnership and your interest for your students. I love that we are walking through this college transition together because that fall semester, it'll be here before we know it, and our students will be ready and prepared with a good support team to help them along the way. So, thank you for being here. My name is Renee Marquez, and I work in Future Wildcat Families, a department designed to help support our families in getting connected to the university and that college life, all in support for you and our new incoming students. So, as you and your students prepare for the college transition, one of the most common questions we hear is what kind of support is there on campus for my students? What is there to offer once they're here? And I have to tell you, with these coffee chats, we went through a lot of different support systems on campus in all those previous sessions, and we will continue to discuss support on campus, resources, especially in our parent and family orientation. But today's session is all about answering that question specifically, especially for students who may benefit from a more structured, individualized approach to their academic success. So today we are talking about the SALT Center, which stands for Strategic Alternative Learning Techniques. This is a nationally recognized program designed to help support our students with that time management, organization, tutoring, and personalized learning strategies. So, whether your student has been diagnosed with a learning difference or simply wants more consistent academic support, this is a program that offers all of those tools that can help them. It can help guide them and really just make a meaningful difference for them. So, we are excited to walk you through everything that the SALT Center has to offer and how students can get involved, what to expect, and any kind of costs that are involved with it. So, let's go ahead and get started. Before I do the introductions, I do just want to remind you that you are in a Zoom webinar format. Your audio and video functionality are turned off. However, if you have questions for us, you can click on the Q&A at the bottom of the screen and ask any questions you may have throughout our session. Your chat functionality is off, but you may see some links come through to you in the chat. The webinar is recorded this afternoon. Should you need to reference it later on, it'll be on our website, futurefamily.arizona.edu, and just kind of click on the coffee chat section. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to three amazing SALT Center representatives, starting with Daniel Linden. He serves as the Director for Student Support at the SALT Center. Daniel, thank you so much for being here today.
No, thank you. And hello, everyone. Very happy to be here today.
Thank you. And we also have Sarah Sampey, who serves as the Assistant Director for Admissions and Recruitment there at the SALT Center. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us, and thank you for being here to learn more about the SALT Center.
And last but not least, we have Brittany Cortinas, Coordinator for Recruitment at the SALT Center. Brittany, you will be helping us in the Q&A this afternoon. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. And following this presentation, you can always reach out to me with any questions. I offer Zoom chats, phone calls, whatever, email, whatever to answer your questions.
That's fantastic, Brittany. Thank you so much. And I will have you know that we will have one other joining us this afternoon. She is a parent. Some of you have seen her on a previous coffee chat. We will have Christine joining us at the end of our coffee chat as well. And we will be hearing from Christine. So to get us started, Daniel, question for you. Can you tell us what is the SALT program and what does it offer to our students?
Appreciate the question. And again, thank you. Hello to everyone. So here at the SALT Center, we've been around a long time, and historically, we've assisted students we identify as having mild to moderate learning and attention challenges. But with that, there are a lot of students within our program who come to us not necessarily with an official diagnosis, but just with an understanding that, hey, I learn a little bit different, or I struggle in some capacity pertaining to learning. So we do our best to help those students as well. Next slide, please. So a few things about us. Like I said, we've been here a long time, well over 40 years. We were established back in 1980. And when students are in the room, I say, hey, long before you were an apple in anyone's eye. And we are unique to the U of A. There are no other SALT centers out there in the world. There are plenty of smaller organizations and institutions that try and replicate what we do, but nothing to our scale and for not nearly as long. As a matter of fact, Sarah and I get phone calls every year asking, hey, can we come down and visit your organization, kind of see how you do things? And we say, no, we don't want to share our secret sauce. No, I'm just kidding. We play nice. But it just kind of speaks to our reputation and how other organizations understand that there's an ever-growing need to support our students. So at the SALT Center, we pride ourselves on being able to offer our students a very personalized support with an authentic college experience. And what I mean by that is we're not a school within a school. Um, our students, many of our students, I should say, come from some pretty intimate K-12 settings to get their academic needs met by choice or necessity. But those same small school students, they want that massive university experience. They want to go to the Division I sports. They want to be involved with Greek life. They want to be around 45,000 other college students getting into trouble late at night. But those same students and families, they also want to know that, hey, when life gets overwhelming, when anxiety kicks in, when stress is at an all-time high, they love knowing that they have a building on campus to go to. We really do a good job of shrinking this 45,000 person institution down to the size of a building. And for all the years I've been doing this, which feels like 100 by now, if I had to point to one thing that parents and families love most, it's that very fact. Right now, there's about 35 or so full-time professionals that work within our organization. And every semester, we facilitate the needs of about 650 to 700 students. Now, historically, 85% of the students we support have obtained and remained in what we identify as good academic standing, meaning at a Research One institution, our students have earned at least a 2.0 GPA. We have several hundreds who achieve a 3.0 and even 4.0s. But we say that because it's an amazing testament to the hard work our students put in. Now, as I say that, there's also a caveat that SALT, by no stretch, is a guarantee for success. It's all about the student engagement. But if a student utilizes our services and they take the perspective of everyone involved with their learning, although we can never guarantee success, we're a pretty good leg up. So if and when the day comes, you and your son or daughter tell us, hey, guys, we love SALT, we love the U of A, we're coming. We're going to say, welcome to the family, and we're going to ask you for an initial 2-semester commitment. That's usually your first fall and your first spring, depending on when you enroll. We are an additional fee for service, as you might have heard or read about us, and we'll definitely get into all that in a couple of minutes. We are financially self-supporting here at the SALT Center. We don't get any federal money, any state money, any university money. Everything you hear us talk about is the product of fees and amazing donors who just appreciate our services. So next slide. So now I get to talk about what makes us so special, starting with the student support specialists, moving on to learning support, and then talking about our psych and wellness program. So the student support specialist, this individual operates a lot like an IEP or 504 case manager in the K-12 world. And they really do become the primary point of contact for your son or daughter when they're enrolled in our organization. These individuals come from a myriad of backgrounds, and we have about 14 on staff right now. And the expectation is that when your son or daughter is enrolled with us, that they are assigned to one of these individuals and that they see this same person every week for the whole time that they're in SALT. Those weekly meetings last about 30 minutes, and they're driven by the student's needs. All right. Each specialist carries a roster of about 50 students or so, and that's intentional because we're always mindful of programmatic integrity. And what we have found is that having 50 students is really that sweet spot for support specialists to follow up with students throughout the week, even after their initial meeting. Okay. It's these people's jobs to help with that college transition. All right. Now, your son or daughter will have the chance to meet with their support specialist during enrollment events, during our mandated college readiness workshops, during our mandated new student experience. We also have our specialists oversee our peer mentor program. And because we care about student development, our peer mentors, who are students, have the opportunity to become paid student ambassadors. So we really do care about the student from a holistic standpoint. Next slide. Oh, can you go back one? I apologize. So I do want to say that our support specialists, again, they come from a myriad of backgrounds. And again, that's intentional. Other programs that try and do what we do, they like to hire their support specialists from similar backgrounds, education, special education, and that's fine. The model works. But the reason why we've been so effective is because when we recruit specialists, when we need to, we do it with the student in mind. Because when a student applies to our organization, we take every ounce of that application, their interests, their hobbies, what they want to be when they grow up, their best friends, whatever we can get, and we use that information to pair them up with a support specialist who's had a similar background, similar career path, similar interest. Because what we know and what's absolutely critical is that any student entering higher education, however big or small the setting, if they're able to make a connection with someone, then the chances of that kid coming back for year number 2 skyrocket exponentially. Therefore, the chances of graduation skyrocket exponentially. And that's all we care about. Next slide. So that brings us to our learning support or our tutoring. The support specialists are not the tutors. We have over 100 student tutors who work within our organization. Okay, we do utilize a peer tutoring model, which means 99.4% of the time when a student receives tutoring through us, it's with a current University of Arizona student. But the student who's been amazingly vetted in that they have to have demonstrated high success in whatever class they are tutoring. They also go through what we call an LD 101 training to understand how to work with students with various learning and attention challenges. And they also go through a tiered certification through what's called the College Reading and Learn Association. And it really kind of just speaks to their expertise and their level of commitment to helping our student population. Now, tutoring is offered in a few different formats. Our most popular is via the one-on-one content-specific sessions. And once a student is in our program, we teach them how to use our scheduling system through TrackCloud. We also offer some small group study sessions available upon request. But a real added bonus to our tutoring service are what we call our drop-in labs. And these are done through the reading and writing labs and the math and science labs. Students can still book the one-on-one hour-long session in these lab areas, but these labs also have a drop-in piece in that if a student is working on, say, college algebra at 2 o'clock in the morning and they think they're being productive, they might get stuck on a problem or two. They can come into the SALT Center to the Math and Science Lab the following morning, no appointment needed, and get about 20 minutes worth of drop-in help and then be about their way. Now, they shouldn't do that with 20 problems to do or a 10-page paper to peruse through, but if they use it the right way, it's amazingly convenient, okay? Another added bonus to our learning support is our educational technology. I'm from the old school that a cell phone still gives me headaches, but technology is imperative to our future. And we've done a fantastic job creating a bunch of what we call integrative technology space. And if you ever have a chance to visit our organization, you'll see that downstairs we have a lot of space dedicated to students' technological supports. All right. They can also book individual consultations with our technology coordinator, whose job is to help them prepare for all the platforms, software needs, hardware needs that the university requires. Okay. We also offer what we call Gear Up workshops right before the fall semester begins. And these are dedicated to, again, helping students understand the technological needs that they might have for the upcoming semester. It's a fantastic resource for our students. Next slide, please. So that brings me over to our psych and wellness service. We always have to be mindful on how we face this forward. We never want anyone or any student to assume that we are a mental health support facility. However, with that said, I'm not sure that there's been an application that we've had our eyeballs on that did not indicate some sort of underlying mental health condition. As a matter of fact, it's very rare, I would say. We always see some sort of specific learning challenge. We usually see ADHD, but more and more often over the last 10 to 15 years, it's been anxiety, depression, OCD, or some other underlying condition. And that's okay. And COVID did nothing to help the situation. But with that, we've recognized the need and we've done a fantastic job expanding our brief solution-focused therapy model. This is designed for when students need to speak to someone on a little bit deeper level than just academics. They have the opportunity to be seen by one of our intern psychologists. We usually have 2 or 3 in the building. They're at the last step right before getting their own licenses, and they're underneath the direct supervision of our clinician, Dr. Samaniego. And in situations of greater severity, Dr. Samaniego herself will actually step in and see students. It's a very, very heavily utilized resource, and students really do appreciate the opportunity to kind of just vent some sort of overlying problem. Okay, but again, this isn't a long-term therapeutic approach. This is designed to help students get through the day, get through the week, get through the month, maybe. Anything sort of long-term will make the appropriate referrals outside of our organization. Now, on top of that, we've developed in the last couple of years what we call our SC3 program. It's our communication for college and career. And this subgroup of our psych and wellness team, their focus is on communication challenges that students might want to address. Initially, its inception was to help students on the spectrum, but it's actually evolved into a support for any student who might want to just bolster some of their communication skills, whether it's talking to a professor, making friends, getting over shyness. Tangentially, we offer our student engagement team. They're responsible for putting on engagement events for our student population to kind of get together and just kind of meet each other. This team also provides opportunities for families to come together, whether it's during family weekend or during the school year for family game night. It's a fantastic arm of our organization, and the most popular feature about our team is that they bring in therapy dogs a couple of times a semester. So I'm always down there with the puppies hanging out. So it's just a fantastic time for everybody involved. So next slide, please. Now, the last thing I'll say, and this is very important, we are the SALT Center, and we offer that really full comprehensive support for students who need extra academic support in the way of executive functioning or what have you. But then there's also the Disability Resource Center. Every university in the nation has some form of a disability resource center, okay? It's mandated by law. That's the entity on campus responsible for determining accommodations for your son or daughter. So if they are used to utilizing things like extended time or having a note taker or some sort of technology, this would be the team on campus for your son or daughter to connect with. The SALT Center does not handle accommodations. We will prompt students and remind students and ask students, hey, do you plan to use accommodations? If so, we'll help you get connected, but we do not establish accommodations. And the other thing to remember is that the expectation for whatever accommodations you're receiving right now should not be that you're going to still get all those same accommodations at the college level. Wherever you land, and it should be the U of A, you should have a conversation with your access consultant through the DRC to discuss what accommodations you are now eligible for. All right. In the K-12 world, you're entitled to everything you get right now. When it comes to college, it becomes a matter of eligibility. And keeping that in mind, we have a lot of students who decide to enter college and they say to themselves, hey, I'm going to give this college stuff a try without my accommodations just to see what my skills are like. And that's fine, totally your choice. But then those same students oftentimes reach that first exam or that first midterm and it doesn't go very well. You can't then go back to the DRC, ask to get your accommodations in place, and then take that test over. It doesn't work that way. Accommodations are not retroactive. So it's far better to have those in place up front and not use them than to need them and not have them. Hopefully that makes sense. So I get to pass it over to Sarah, who's going to talk about the application process.
Thank you, Daniel. So as Daniel said, our program is application based. In order to apply to the SALT Center, all of your students have actually already done this. They first need to apply to the University of Arizona. That application gets them the credentials they need, which is an email and password, to apply using our supplemental application. So when you go into the application portal on our website, it will directly link you to our application. And in our application, we ask for several different things, but our review takes about 3 to 4 weeks. So if your student goes in today and applies, gets everything in by the end of the week, then you will hear within the next few weeks if they've been admitted to the SALT Center or not. We email all of our decisions, and we also have updated statuses in the application portal that kind of tells you where you're at. So you'll get one that says 3 to 4 weeks, you'll hear from us. In 7 to 10 days, you'll hear from us. Right now, we are trying to expedite the review of all the applications that we get in. And so we're really trying to meet everybody where we're at as far as the May 1st decision date. So that is what our team is focused on right now as well. Next slide, please. So in our application, as I mentioned before, we ask for several different things. The first being documentation. Documentation can take on several different forms. It can be a 504, an IEP, psychoeducational testing, even a doctor's note. What's most important to us is that it's from the high school years. Senior or junior year is ideal. However, we will accept anything from freshman year on. What we're looking for in the documentation are 3 different things. One, what is the student's diagnosis or diagnoses? How does that impact learning? And what are their current support services? That said, we do not require students to get brand new testing. So if you you're up for new testing, or you do not have to do that for the SALT Center. It is expensive and extensive, so we don't require that. We just require something from the high school years. So it's possible that maybe a student was diagnosed in middle school and the high school has been using that middle school documentation in order to create the high school documents. You can submit both of those and that would be ideal. That's perfect. As long as we have something from high school, that's all we need. However, we do not require students to submit documentation. We prefer it when it's available, but we do work with students who learn differently, and we also have students that don't have any documented diagnosis. So in those cases, we just ask the student to provide an additional reflection where they talk about what kinds of academic support needs they have so that we can make sure that we can meet those needs. So again, documentation or an additional reflection. So outside of documentation of those academic needs, we ask for a few other things. The first is that we ask all students to provide a reflection response where they talk about how they've overcome an obstacle. Oftentimes, the essay that they wrote for the U of A is or does match with our prompt. In those cases, you are welcome to use your college application essay for that as well. Just make sure that it answers our prompt. So in this situation, we allow you to plagiarize yourself. So in addition to that, we will ask students to complete a self-awareness survey where they rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 5 in different skill sets, from academic skills, executive functioning skills, life skills, just 1 to 5 from below average to outstanding. We ask students to be very honest on this survey. If you put 1s on everything, that doesn't mean that you're going to get denied. This just helps us when we are making support specialist assignments, because this is something that it's kind of an introduction for your support specialist. They would review this and see, oh, it looks like executive functioning might be a good place for me to start with this particular student. So we ask for you to be honest in that. Then finally, we ask for a learning evaluation form. Students do really only have about 50% of control over this. What we ask is for students to include in their application the contact information for an education professional who can speak to the learning or attention differences of the student, or just what individual academic supports they might need. It could be a core teacher, math, science, social studies. It could be a 504 coordinator, an IEP manager, someone who can speak to those individual needs of the student that is not related to them. So you would put in that contact information. Then they would be emailed, they would be sent an email that includes the link to the learning evaluation form. It is an online form that they will not have received in any other way before. So if they say, well, I already sent it, it's impossible because they only get it with this email. So it should only take them about 15 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the very, very most to complete it. But that is required for the application to be considered complete. So if a student wants, they can put more than one education professional. We only need one to be returned for this requirement to be met. So because students don't have direct control over that, we kind of highlight that during this time so that you can choose someone that you will consistently have contact with so you can remind them and then be able to check in that that is complete. And then outside of those materials, we ask for, we have an application fee, sorry, that's $15 for Arizona residents and $40 for anyone out of Arizona. Our application review period, as I said, is about 3 to 4 weeks. What we are waiting for during that time is for the application to be completed. So we need 3 things to be true. 1, the student must be admitted to the U of A, which that's already the case in your son or daughter's experience. 2, the application is submitted with the learning evaluation form turned in. And 3, the application fee is paid. Once all of those are true, then this 3 to 4 week review period starts. During that time, we are reviewing everything that was submitted with the application, the documentation or additional reflection, the mandatory reflection, the learning evaluation form, as well as the self-awareness survey. We read every single page that is submitted. What we're doing during that time is we're trying to answer the question that's on your screen. That is, can our comprehensive services meet the individual needs of the student? That is how we make admission decisions here at the SALT Center. Can we meet your needs? That's it. Sometimes we will request additional information, and other times we'll ask for students to schedule interviews. All of this is normal and part of the process. So if you are asked to schedule an interview, totally normal. If you are not asked to schedule an interview, also totally normal. This is us just trying to make sure that we can confidently answer this question. We take this very seriously, especially because we are a fee-for-service program. We never want to offer admission to someone that we don't believe we can assist. However, if we do believe, yes, you can go on. Perfect. If we do believe that we can support you, then we will offer you admission to the program. Applicants are offered admission, which means that they're offered a spot in the program. However, that spot is not guaranteed. We usually have about 700 applications submitted, but we can only enroll about 300 students for spots. Our enrollment limit has been reached as early as April in the past. However, we still have plenty of spots available now, and we're still accepting applications and still admitting and enrolling students. So in order for students to secure their spot, they need to move from admitted to enrolled. And in order to do so, they are required to complete a few enrollment steps to hold that spot. Any student who enrolls in our program by May 1st will also receive a fee waiver for their $200 one-time enrollment fee that is charged in July after they're enrolled. You can move on to the next one, Renee. Thank you. So these steps are what needs to be completed in order for the spot to be secure. The first being our student participation agreement. This is our 2-semester commitment where the student will acknowledge the program fee. That is completed in the application portal. Again, that is an online form. The second is to select an enrollment event date. We have enrollment events that take place during June. They are virtual on Zoom. And so students will just need to choose the date in which they and a parent or supporter can attend. That is also an online form. And then the third online form is for our summer workshop series. We require all of our incoming freshmen to attend this workshop series. It takes place the last week of June on Zoom, 1 hour per day, Monday through Thursday. That workshop series builds on the skills that we talk about in the enrollment event. The online form asks students to acknowledge that they understand they need to attend these workshops. Now, that said, we understand senior year and celebrating senior year has probably already been planned since August of last year. So if for some reason the student cannot attend during that week, that's okay. We will have makeup sessions available for students. So just completing the online form will make sure that you can secure the spot, but it isn't locking you into those specific dates. As I mentioned just a few seconds ago, we do have students pay a one-time $200 fee to enroll in our program. It is separate from the program fees, and that's usually charged in July. As I was mentioning, that's waived for all students who apply by May 1st. So if you are or your student is interested in participating in our program, they get that in before May 1st, then that enrollment fee will be waived. So it's just one less fee to think about. So our program fees, as Daniel mentioned, we are a fee-based program. And so everything that we talked to you about today is included in this fee. For lower division students, that's students who have completed 0 to 59 units, which is freshmen and sophomore standing here at the university. It's $3,500 per semester. So that's $3,500 charged at the beginning of fall and $3,500 charged at the beginning of spring. That is one flat rate. There are no additional charges. For upper division students, that's students who have completed 60 or more units, or junior or senior standing here at the university. Right now it's $1,700 per semester, so that's $1,700 charged at the beginning of fall and $1,700 charged at the beginning of spring. Upper division students will only pay by the hour for one-on-one tutoring sessions only. So they will not pay this hourly fee for study groups or for drop-in labs, only one-on-one appointments. That would be charged mid-semester and then at the end of the semester. However, we never want the fee to be the reason why students can't participate in our program. So we do offer need-based SALT Center scholarships for students that assist with our program fees only. Currently, our application is no longer visible in Scholarship Universe as the deadline to apply was April 1st. However, if you take note of Daniel's email, which is right there in the center, you can reach out to him about the application and any available funds that remain. So please take advantage of that if that's something that you would like to apply for. Thank you.
Sarah, Daniel, that was great information for our families. At this time, I want to move on and introduce you all to one of our wonderful parents, to a current student, Christine. She is the parent, like I said, to a third-year student here on campus. Some of you may recognize her from our last coffee chat. Christine has so graciously offered her time and support, and we're so grateful for that. Christine, thank you for sharing your experience.
Hi, everybody. Welcome and thank you for being here. This is an amazing, wonderful program, and my son is thriving, and I know he wouldn't be doing as well if it weren't for all the amazing people at SALT.
Christine, you've been in their shoes. You wanted to know all the things there is to offer for your son. You had hesitations, you weren't sure. What were your initial thoughts on the SALT Center?
Yes, in fact, my son was convinced that he would not be able to go to university, any university, because he is a diagnosed dyslexic and he needs that extra support. And we were fortunate enough to attend a Taste of Salt at the U of A. And it's a beautiful building, very welcoming, very comfortable place to be in. And we were able to speak with some of the kids who attended the program. And we just thought, wow, what an amazing program. We hope it could work for our son. And boy, howdy, these people really know what they're doing. More than 40 years of experience. We were afraid, honestly, not because my son isn't brilliant, because he is, but I was worried. We're in Los Angeles, California, and I was worried sending him so far away from home. You know, as a parent of a neurodiverse child, K through 12 sometimes is not a friendly place. Um, and I just was worried to entrust him by himself so far away from home. And SALT really, the specialists there, they are amazing, amazing people. They have instilled into our son such confidence. As parents, we always tell our kids, you know, you're smart, you're smart. Even if it doesn't show up on paper, we know you're smart. But it doesn't really mean a lot to them until they go to SALT. And the specialists work with them every week. They have a meeting with them. All the other events that they have functions around SALT, the puppies, the game nights, different ways to integrate the kids into life at a big college. As you can see from our slide, my son is a U of A cheerleader. He was heavily involved in different aspects of college life beyond academics. And to have that specialist one-on-one that knows him, this is his third year, and every week they meet, and she helps him with organization, with picking his schedules for her, changing majors. He changed majors a few times. They take all the anxiety out of it. They really just know how to guide the kids. And for my son, who never went into a library unless he was forced to, he spends sometimes 4 or 5 hours in the library studying. He has his own work dance that his specialist has helped him find, a mix of, you know, sometimes very quiet. He needs very quiet for some study things, different for others. I never thought my son would spend 4 to 5 hours in a library ever. He's taken more units than needed. He has found a passion in school that he never, ever had. SALT has just been an amazing place for him, and we're fortunate to have found it. And I'm so happy all of you have too. It's amazing what they can pour into these kids.
And I bet, Christine, thank you for sharing that. I could feel your empathy through your words. And I can imagine how the SALT Center also helped you to kind of let go of him leaving LA, right?
Yes, it was very hard. K through 12, I tended to be the coach or the fixer for my son. I always went in and in-service teachers on how he learned and what struggles he had. And so it was very difficult to stop that, let him be a college student, be an adult, problem solve on his own. And SALT really, they have different programs for or in services for the parents. And I really took them to heart. It made a big difference in me letting him go, letting him solve things on his own. You know, he would call me up and super anxious and upset, and I would listen to him. And SALT told us as parents, listen to them, validate their feelings, and then send them to us. So hard to do. I wanted to fix it so fast. I told him I could be there in 8 hours. I could get in my car. I could be there in 8 hours. But I listened to what they told me. I let the experts deal with it. And he has, you know, one real quick thing. Just a month ago, he texted me and he said, Mom, I was in a group situation for one of my classes, my hard class that I have, and they put us in a group situation. And the smartest girl in class was in my group. And she told me how smart I was and how insightful I was. And I'm telling you, I was at the kitchen table crying because, you tell your kids this, but they don't feel it until the smartest girl in class tells him that. Or the tutor from SALT, after he worked on a paper all night by himself, no help, and he gives it to her to check. He runs in there, anxious, and she checks it for him and says, "This is really great. I don't have to make any corrections on it." And again, I get one of those texts, "Mom, she said I was smart." SALT is worth every single penny for those moments, that confidence that they pour into these kids. And I wish I had had SALT for my other neurotypical child. I think we would have had an easier, better adult relationship that SALT gave me, prepared me for my son Roman, who's attending there. They really helped me to, talk me through letting him go, letting him be, letting him fall, because there were people there to lift him up and support that weren't me, and it doesn't have to always be me. And he's just thriving. He got a 3.62 this last semester, and we about fell on the floor. We're just so proud of him. And because he's neurodiverse, the grade point average I never really focus on. It's like 2.0 C's get degrees. That's what you got to, anything above that's great, but because of how you learn, 2.0 is all I'm ever going to ask of you. And he is pushing himself and striving, and it is an amazing, amazing place. I can't say enough about it. It's worth every penny. The child you drop off and the child you pick up, night and day, in the best of ways. And it's a thank you to everybody who works at SALT, because you don't just affect the child who's there, the wildcat there, but the family back home. And it's really true.
Christine, you shared that so gracefully. Thank you so much. I really love to hear how Roman has grown here on campus and through the SALT Center. It really is an amazing story. So thank you for being here with us. If you have questions for the SALT Center, you can contact them directly. Scan this QR code and you can complete the form, and they will follow up with you. It's here on the screen. And then, Brittany, if you'd like to drop that into the chat as well, just so they can have access to it. I will let you all know that we have something on the horizon for you. A lot of times at the end of these coffee chats, we'll kind of go over what's in store for the next month or so, but we have something new this summer. So these are going to be informational insight sessions that we are going to offer that you can attend with your students. So insight sessions are going to be engaging, informative, more than likely presentations that will be hosted by our academic colleges and campus departments. These sessions will be designed to offer more of an inside look at academic programs, the student success resources, campus services, and really so much more. There's a whole bunch of them that we have scheduled for this summer, and just a lot of options for you to choose from. So just to kind of give you an idea, there'll be sessions like the think tank, the bursar's office, the honors college. There'll be a session on the Advising Resource Center. So if you're interested, all this information will be up and coming starting in the next few months or so. The sessions will be offered in July throughout August, and they'll be held virtually. So similar to this on a Zoom format, each session will be structured in a way that best showcases the department's expertise and will host opportunities for interaction. So a little bit different than these coffee chats, but the bottom line, very informative. So a full schedule of insight sessions will be found on our website in the coming months. So I wanted to share that with you, just a little something to look forward to. I have to say, Daniel, Sarah, Brittany from the Salt Center, thank you for your time and expertise today. I learned a lot about the Salt Center, even for myself, but really appreciate you being here today for our families. You brought a lot of good knowledge and a great opportunity for students who could really use that extra academic support. And just bringing the awareness to our supporters to know that we do have this award-winning support as an option throughout their academic journey. So it really is something for them. So as we wrap up today's coffee chat, we hope that you leave with just a clearer understanding of how the SALT Center can support your students' transition and success here at the University of Arizona. And just know that it's an available option to your students when deciding on support. College really is a time of growth, a time of independence. Christine, you said it. You saw your son grow through these last 3 years, and all these new challenges that come with it. So having the right support system in place can really make all the difference. The SALT Center is not just about academics, it's about helping students build that confidence, develop these lifelong skills, and really take ownership of their learning because something the college transition is sometimes it's a lot tougher on some than others. So just really encourage you to continue exploring whether this program is a right fit for your student and reach out with any additional questions you may have. They are ready for it. Thank you again for spending your time with us today and for watching all of the coffee chats, really. If there are any coffee chats you have missed and you're hoping to go back and watch any of those, they're recorded and placed on that website. Thank you for being a part of your student's journey in becoming a Wildcat. We wish you a wonderful rest of your day and bear down.